In this video, I want to review the operations with fractions and decimals using some more realistic or real-world type problems. So there's 5 problems I want to go over. Starting off with this first here, you see this chart here. There's a kid who kept a record of inches around his waist when he began an exercise program. So he's measuring his waist as he began the program. And you can see in month 1, 2, and 3, where his waist was 45 in the fourth, 40. So just look at these whole numbers, 45, 40, and 36. So it looked like his waist got smaller as he did the program. Good, it was successful. But say I just wanted to know the difference around his waist from the first to the second month. So we're going to ignore the third month. Yeah, we're going to ignore that. We're just doing the difference. So it's 45 and 1/4 minus 40 and 5/12. And that's the problem that we're going to need to solve here. All right, so let's first come over here, and we're thinking 45 1/4 minus 40 and 5/12. So we can set this up just like this to subtract fractions, and we can do 1/4 minus 5/12. But in order to do that, we need to convert to twelfths. So this would be 45, and then the 1/4 you're going to multiply by 4 times 3, so 3/3, which is 1. You're going to multiply by 1, or 3/3. 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12, minus 40 and 5/12. What you notice is you can't do 3/12, you can't take away 5/12. So you have to regroup, but we're regrouping in twelfths, not in tens, or like our normal wholes. So what we do is the 45 would be regrouped as, I'm going to slide this down some more right, as 44. We just take 1 away, and then the 3/12, we're going to add 12/12 to that, because we take a whole. 1 whole is 12/12, so we add 12/12 here, and that would equal 3 plus 12 is 15/12. Now we can subtract 15 minus 5, we get 10/12. 44 minus 40 is going to be 4, so it'd be 4 and 10/12, but let's make 10/12 can be simplified by dividing by 2 into 5/6, so it would be 4 and 5/6 would be our simplest form answer for the question of what's the difference in his weights from the first to the second month. Okay, so the second problem is right here. I want to just put these, say I had to order these numbers in order from least to greatest. How would I go about doing that? So the first thing I would do is I would look at the numbers, and I'd say, okay, all of them are above 0. These are called rational numbers, which means they actually can be spoken. You have 7 and 32 hundredths, 1/4, 0, 3 and 37 hundredths, 7 and 1/8, and 9/10. So the first thing I would do is kind of look at a number line and see if there's any obvious things. So you have so 0 would go here. So that would be your first one. Bam. And then I come over here. 0 would be here. Draw an arrow. That looks better. And then I would come here and I'd look at these other ones. Okay, this is greater than 1. This is greater than 1. This is greater than 1. 9/10 and 1/4 are both less than 1. So here would be 1. And then 9/10 is almost 1. So that's going to go here. And then 1/4 would go less than that, 1/4. We don't need to be specific here because we're just putting these numbers, 0, 1/4, 9/10. Good so far. Kind of cross those off. All right. Now I'm looking at 3, 7, and 7. So the next one's going to be, you're going to have 2 and then 3, and then it'll be 3 and 37 hundredths. So that would be that one come next. And now we just basically need to compare 7 and 1/8 and 7 and 32 hundredths. To do that, I would simply just convert the 1/8 into a decimal real quick, and that would be 8 divided into 1.00. How far does it go? 32. So let's go one more place value to see where it goes. 8 goes into 10, 8 goes into 1, 0. Bring up your decimal point. 8 goes into 10 once times equals 8. 2, bring down your 0, goes into 20 twice. 2 times 8 is 16. 4, bring down 0, goes into 5. That's actually going to work out perfectly because that's going to be 8 times 5 is 40 minus is 0. So it's 0.125. So this number would actually be 7.125. Now I can compare that to 7.32 and see that, oh, the 1 and the 3 is bigger. So the next number would be 7 and 1/8, followed by 7.32. All right, this work's kind of messy, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to write them in black now, change my color. So the first number is 0, then 1/4, then 9/10, then the next number would be 3.37, and then 7 and 1/8. Oops, it's an 8. Followed by 7.32. Double check my instructions. I did say least to greatest, and I have, let's see, make sure I have all the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see what I started with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have everything there, so I have them in order now from least to greatest. Yep, that's the wrong one. All right, now on to the third problem I want to review and go over. In this problem, we're looking at containers of ice cream. Say we're planning a party, right? Planning a party, I'm going to buy 6 containers of ice cream. Okay? The ice cream is going to cost $3.25 each, and in each ice cream container is 1 325 thousandths of a gallon. Just some arbitrary numbers, I kind of made them up. But say I want to answer the question, how many gallons of ice cream did I buy? How many gallons of ice cream? So for that information, you need to know the number of gallons in each container and the number of containers. You don't need to know the price. We're looking at just how many gallons did I buy. That's the only thing I want to answer right now. So to do that, I'm just going, okay, this is the containers, this is the number per container, so I'm doing I'm multiplying here. 1.325 times 6. We just go through our standard algorithm here and multiply this out. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 6 times 1, to estimate that, would be about 6, so this number makes sense. So my decimal point should go there, plus if I just count out 1, 2, 3, count back in 1, 2, 3, my decimal point is there. My answer would be 7.95 would be the number of gallons that I bought, and that makes sense based on my estimate. So that would be how we'd solve that problem. This next problem is actually going to lead us into division in a tricky way. Say we're building a fence, right? We have the area, and we know we have this much to cover an area. For example, this is a rectangle, and our area here is area is 10.72. Let's give it a unit. I forgot to give it a unit. Let's call it centimeters squared, and then our length would be 2 3/5 centimeters, right? So what we have to do is we want to figure out what the width is. To do that, we need to know that area equals length times width. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's erase that and write a little bit neater. Length times width. And then I can plug in my area, which is 10.72 equals 2 3/5. I wrote that wrong. Not letting me delete it. Okay. So I'm just going to put the 3/5 times my W that I don't know. And then basically I just need to know the properties of multiplication that I can, create a fact family where I basically just switch the equal sign out for a division symbol and do 10.72 divided by 2 3/5 equals W. So now if I solve this division problem I have, I can figure out what the width was. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. First step there is going to be to convert both of these numbers to decimals. 10.72 is a decimal, so 2 3/5 is not. So to do that, I'm going to divide 5 into 3. Let's give myself some space to work over here. 0.00. This should be pretty quick. 0, because I see that already 5 into 30 goes in 6 times. So I'm done. Okay, so it's 0.6. Come back over. So I'm doing 2.6 because 2 3/5, 3/5 equals 0.6. So it's 2.6 divided into 10.72. I'm going to go give myself more space and rework this problem somewhere else. All right. So with decimals, we got to remember that we just take this decimal and move it in 1, which means we take this decimal and move it in 1, so it comes right up here between the 7 and the 2. And then we do 26. 26 doesn't go into 10, but it does go into 107. 25 goes in 104 times. This will probably go in 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 20 is 80. 80 plus 24 is 104. 107 minus 104 will be 3. Bring down the 2. It'll go in 1 time. 32 minus 26 is going to be 6. Again, this would be 12. This would be 2. So 12 minus 6 is 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. Then I can add a 0 and bring it down. 26 is going to go into 60. It's going to go in twice. I'm going to continue this out just to the thousandths place. So I go to the 10,000ths and then round. I'm not sure how far this one will go. 2 times 26 would be, 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 20 is 40. 12 plus 40 is 52. 60 minus 52 will be 8. Bring down another 0. I'm now in the thousandths place, so I'm just going to need to bring down a couple more zeros. This 0 came down, this 0 came down, so that'll come down next, all right? 26 into 80, so 2 is 52, so I could probably do another one. I can do 3. 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is 60. 60 plus 18 is 78. 80 minus 78 is 2. Bring down the 0 again. 20 is actually going to go into 20 0 times, so. But that means that my next place is going to be a 0. I still have more to divide, but this 0 says to round down. So basically, I'm just going to round it and say it is 4.123 would be my division answer. And so if I go back, I would say that the width is going to be approximately 4.123. So 4 and 123 thousandths. Width equals 4.123. 4 and 123 thousandths. And that's going to be centimeters because that's the unit we started with. And that would answer the question as to what the width was. In this next problem, we're going to kind of take 2 steps through this. The first step is we went to the grocery store, we bought a bunch of fruit, and then on the receipt we looked to see how much fruit we bought in terms of pounds, because they weighed at the register, and we bought 3.7 pounds of bananas, 3.16 pounds of apples, and 6 pounds of oranges, and 6 pounds of apples. And let's just figure out what the total weight of our fruit was. The total weight of our fruit was, so this is just adding decimals, 3.7, 3.16, and then 6. The important thing here is to line up our decimal points, and I'm going to add these extra zeros here just to make it a little bit easier. But if we line up the decimal points, we know we'll contain the right place value. Plus, all right, 0 plus 6 is 6, 7 plus 1 is 8. Bring down my decimal point, 3 plus 6 more is 12. 12.86 pounds of fruit, or 12 and 86/100 pounds of fruit. Now comes the tricky part. So I put this fruit into a bag, and the bag also contains water. When I weigh the whole bag, it's 20 pounds. So the bag itself is 20 pounds, and the bag contains water and the fruit. So how do I figure out how much the water weighs? Oh, all right, well, so if the bag is water and fruit, and the bag's 20 pounds, if I just take out the fruit, I'll have the water. So what I'm going to do is 20 take away the 12.86. Now to do this, I got to put in the decimals and add these zeros, because to subtract, I'm going to have to regroup. In this case, I got to come all the way up to the 20 first. Take that a 1. This becomes a 9. This becomes a 10, and then a 9. This will be a 9, and this will be a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down the 0. 9 minus 2 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. So it is 7.14, and this would be pounds, LBS, of water. Pounds of water. And that would tell me how much water was in the 20-pound bag and also how many pounds of fruit. So that's what we worked there on that problem, those 2 parts. So again, this is just a review of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, different operations with fractions and decimals.